Hello, everybody. Welcome back once again. Season 3, Episode 3 of Empire State Hoops. I'm Adam Rothschild, and alongside me, that is Matt Vargo. And today's episode of Empire State Hoops has been powered by Sport Pros USA. For more information, visit sportprosusa.com or call 877-HOOPS-NJ to make your dream court a reality today. So, it's been a fun week so far. I mean, yesterday did not amount to any of New York sports success with the Jets losing on Sunday, the Giants losing to the Steelers, and the New York Yankees are on the brink of elimination in the World Series, down 3-0, and they play tonight. But as of this recording, this game tonight will be already done. But anyways, we're here to talk about the New York Knicks and the first 3 games of the season that have already happened and the upcoming games that they got coming up. So, from what we've seen so far from the Knicks, Boston, Indiana, and Cleveland. So we're going to go one game at a time. We'll recap for you, break it all down, talk about our takes, and see what our feat was about all of this. So, when it comes to the game against the Celtics, you talk about trying to go in there and ruin the ring net. Obviously, they were not able to do that. Tough game against the best team in the NBA, of course. Last season, coming into this year, one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference, led by Jason Tatum, Drew Holiday, Derek White, Kristaps Porzingis, you name it. They have every guy down the floor in their lineup that can do damage and do whatever they can. So, Mikal Bridges with 16, Jalen Brunson with 22, lead scorers for the Knicks. I believe Tatum had 37 in this game, and that's pretty much what led to Boston's success. So, Matt, what did you see out of this game and with the Knicks' struggles and pretty much how they weren't able to go in there and get the win?
Well, I saw a well-oiled machine in Boston that had the chemistry, the continuity, the confidence with it being ring night, everything you need, just bulldozing a team that, quite honestly, is still a work in progress with all the new pieces they got, because obviously you bring in Bridges and Karl Anthony Towns, and even on the bench you got guys like Cam Payne that you're trying to figure out in this lineup, and the results basically just spoke for themselves. They were down 21 after the first quarter. Boston, I mean, when you're 1-3 away from breaking the NBA's all-time three-point record for a single game, I mean, you're obviously gonna lose, and including the Celtics missing 13 in a row at the very end in garbage time. I mean, they shot 29 of 61, that's 47.5%. The Knicks shot 11 for 30 from 3. Well, yeah, you're obviously gonna lose when that happens. Tatum, he was fantastic. 37 points, 10 assists, and only 4 rebounds, but still a great performance from Tatum. Really, nobody on the Celtics played bad, per se. I mean, Jaylen Brown, he shot under 50%, but he's the only guy you could maybe say that didn't play the greatest game. But even still, 23 points and 7 rebounds. More than enough to get the job done. Karl Anthony Towns, rough first game, I would say. He only took 9 shots, and he had 12 points. But even still, he was minus 18, which was somehow the best of the entire lineup. Brunson, I mean, minus 23, not great. Basically, I didn't expect it to be that bad, but I expected the Celtics to win, and yeah, Boston, at the time of this recording, they're 4-0 now, so they've still been a buzzsaw ever since. They look like they're here to stay for the rest of the season.
Boston does what Boston does. We saw it last year. Mm-hmm. It's already started this year. Like you said, 4-0 record to start the year. They beat the Milwaukee Bucks last night in a very impressive win, but that was really the story from this game. It was, first game of the year, trying to figure out the flow, the rotation, and the lineups and everything with the bench, with, of course, McBride, Cam Payne, and Tyler Kolek being your 3 key pieces off the bench to look at for the Knicks. But we knew they had to find a way to turn it around because in your second game of the season, you're going back home. This was back on the 25th of October, taking on the Pacers, the team you lost to in Game 7 on your home floor last year in the playoffs to finish your season. And they answer back with a ginormous statement in this second game of the season for your home opener. Now, this led to Mikal Bridges with 21 points, who had a huge bounce-back game and really got things going for the Knicks early on. Jalen Brunson with a 26-point masterpiece. Josh Hart with 20, and Karl Anthony Towns with a bounce-back game. He himself with 21 points and 15 rebounds. Big-time double-double for Towns. That led to the Knicks win and pretty much a blowout over the Indiana Pacers.
Yeah, you said it. I mean, obviously, like you said, motivation was high. First game at home also. Indiana ended your year last year. Obviously, the offense will steal the show, but the defense, got to give them a round of applause. 98 points allowed to the Pacers. A donut scored by Tyrese Halliburton, 0 for 8 overall, minus 23 when he was on the court. This game was really never close after like the second quarter. The Knicks dominated the second quarter, 36-21. I think led by, they had to have led by at least 30 at one point in this game. It was ridiculous. And you said it with Bridges. He played obviously way better, 8 for 12, 21 points, a far cry from just 16 points and a minus 33 against Boston in terms of plus-minus. But yeah, Brunson good, Towns good also. I kind of weird that Towns took the fewest shots out of all of the Knicks in this game, and that was also close to being the case against Boston. I feel like Cat still needs to like assert himself more. I think he needs to shoot more. Obviously, Jalen Brunson is the star of the show, but I would like to see Towns get more shots. But defensively, not only with Halliburton, but also with Siakam, he was the only guy who shot decently, 5 of 11. Nesmith, 2 of 5. Miles Turner, 5 of 9. Really, nobody shot well on the Pacers. They shot 3 of 30 as a team from downtown. The Knicks, 12 of 27. That was the difference of the game. And, it was the bounce back they needed because, obviously, given what happened with Cleveland the next night, they'd be in a rough, well, not quite the next night. I think it was 2 nights later. But it would have been rough sledding had they not won this Pacers game.
Yeah, this was a much-needed win. I think, just coming up to your home crowd, and we knew they were going to bring the energy, and sure enough, they were able to, and that led to a Knicks victory, bringing them to 1-1, and with that, they got Saturday and Sunday off, and that brings them into Monday with another team they faced in the playoffs 2 years ago, the Cleveland Cavaliers, who after beating the Knicks last night, they're now 4-0 on the season along with the Celtics, so another hot team to look at as well. Obviously, we're 4 games in. The Cavs are going to lose a game at some point. The Celtics are going to lose a game at some point. They're not going to stay perfect 4-0 like this all the way through. So with this game, when you break it down, Jalen Brunson with 21 and McBride with 14 off the bench. Miles McBride with a big performance there, getting some key points off the bench. But the other thing to look at here was the bruised ankle for Josh Hart. He went, I believe it was either second or third quarter, he went out with the injury. And Tom Thibodeau said post-game he hasn't spoken to the medical about it yet, but it's most likely a bruised ankle from what I've heard at least. But how does this impact the Knicks after falling short in this one down the stretch, knowing you got a 4-game road trip ahead, followed up by the Milwaukee Bucks?
Yeah, it's tough because the Knicks, they had a 9-man rotation for this game. Obviously, Hart's out of the picture. I don't know exactly what they'll do here. But even though Hart tweaked his ankle, he still played 38 minutes in this game. So the starters, again, getting a pretty heavy workload, but that's to be expected. I think it's obviously a big blow for the Knicks because I'd say, he's like your 4th best player. It's not man overboard, obviously, because it's still really early on in the season. But as you said, it's not an easy stretch coming up. It's not awful either. I mean, it's Miami on the road. Miami's obviously tough. Detroit, I don't think Detroit's won a game yet this year, so that's going to be easy. Houston, I have no idea what to make of them. I like the pieces, but I don't see anything resembling a puzzle there yet. And with the Hawks, I know the Hawks, I think they're 2-2, 2-1. I don't think they're a very good team. I think they beat Brooklyn first night game of the year by 4, and I'm pretty sure they lost to the Wizards last night, so I don't think Atlanta's anything to really write home about, so I'd say, looking at this schedule, 3-1 you'll take. 4-0's obviously sweet, but I'm expecting a split. I'm thinking 2-2 from the stretch with the Knicks.
Yeah, I think as we were just getting about this, starting out the season 1-2, looking to turn it around with this 4-game road trip up ahead, which we will talk about right after the break with some opponents coming up. Jimmy Butler, Trae Young, some opponents to watch out for the New York Knicks coming up on this 4-game road trip, which will be followed by the Milwaukee Bucks next Friday once they are back home. And we'll talk about this right after the break here on Season 3, Episode 3 of Empire State Hoops. We'll be right back.
Hey there, basketball fans. Are you ready to take your love for the game to a whole new level? Well, listen up. We've got something that will make your hoop dreams come true. Introducing Sport Pros USA, the ultimate destination for all your backyard sport court needs. Whether you're a diehard Knicks fan or just looking for some slam dunk fun with your family, Sport Pros USA has got you covered. Picture this, it's a sunny afternoon in New York, and you step out onto your very own custom-built backyard basketball court. The court where legends are born and memories are made. A court where you can unleash your inner baller and shoot hoops like your favorite Knicks players. But it's not just about basketball, it's about family, friends, and fun. Whether you're hosting a game of horse with your buddies or teaching your kids how to dribble and shoot, Sport Pros USA brings the magic of the game right to your doorstep. Our courts are more than just a place to play. They're a place to connect, bond, and create unforgettable moments. And with Sport Pros USA, you can have it all, right in your own backyard. We're not just building courts, we're building dreams. Dreams of buzzer beaters, comebacks, and endless laughter. So why wait? Give us a call at 877-HOOPS-NJ or visit sportprosusa.com today to start designing your very own backyard basketball court. Remember, at Sport Pros USA, we believe that every home deserves a court, and every family deserves the joy of playing together. So don't just watch the game, be a part of it.
And we are back here once again, Season 3, Episode 3 of Empire State Hoops. I'm Adam Rothschild, and alongside me, that is Matt Vargo. And we so far have talked about the first 3 games of the season, those being Boston, Indiana, and Cleveland so far for the Knicks, all Eastern Conference opponents. That will continue throughout these next several games, with their first Western Conference opponent coming up on the schedule, with a 4-game road trip coming up. The first game, the Miami Heat. One of the most storied rivalries in the Eastern Conference between the Knicks and the Miami Heat. We know we've talked about it for years now, and how it's been, of course, with the playoffs several years ago when the Knicks played Miami back in 2022 during Jalen Brunson's first season with the Knicks. But it's a completely different story now. The Heat, of course, coming off the loss in the play-in last year to your 76ers, looking to have a bounce-back season. And what do you think Miami's got to do? What do you think New York's got to do in their first matchup?
Okay, with Miami, I mean, the start of the season, at least for them, was really bad. They went to Orlando first night of the year, and they lost, I think, by close to 30. Like, it was embarrassing for a long stretch of the game. Now, the Magic have looked really good to start the early season, and ever since then, they bounced back with wins against Charlotte and Detroit. But I think the guy to watch in this is obviously Jimmy, as he is their best player, and he's coming off 23-7-4 against the Pistons. But also, when I'm looking at this Miami team, I think they're just going to be the exact same team they kind of were last year. I feel like the run that they've went on with Jimmy, it was a generational run, 8 seed, going all the way to the NBA Finals. Obviously, in the bubble, they went to the Finals. I think with Miami, they're just really a weird team. I know Jimmy's upset. He wants a contract extension. Bam Adebayo, he's been steady, but has yet to really take off yet. But I'm going to go out on a limb and say Tyler Hero is kind of the guy that you want to keep an eye on, and Terry Rozier, because I feel like in the front court, Miami's got the advantage with Jimmy and Bam. But obviously, I think the Knicks in the backcourt, even with the injuries, have the upper hand compared to Miami. So I feel like if they can maintain Rozier and Hero, I think they'll be fine. Although I do kind of like Miami in this one. Something about Heat culture that gets me coming back for more. Obviously, got to respect them. But I think I'm going to go with the Heat to win this game.
Yeah, especially with the tough crowd you got in Miami. They have a very good fan base there. And, you know, we've seen that since LeBron has been there, since Wade was there for so many years. Of course, Dwayne Wade just got the statue outside the arena there in Miami. So that was, of course, inspiring there for the Heat, having another one of their stars getting honored there. So that was good to look in. Shout out to Dwayne Wade getting the statue. They're good looks there. But I think, of course, for the Knicks, you go into Miami, hostile environment, trying to win on the road. They've done it before in Miami. We'll see if they can do it again. I like how you got your pick with Miami. But now going on to our next game on this list, it's a team that we have talked about. It's a team that is one of the worst teams in the NBA and one of the worst teams in the Eastern Conference.
That's
and we have talked about them so many times. We have shafted them. We have put them through the roof when the Knicks have done so many incredible things against them last year. We remember when Dante DiVincenzo had the single three-point record when he broke Evan Fournier's record. So that was, of course, fun. But now looking into the reality of this, you're playing Detroit on the road, and the Knicks seem like have had Detroit's number for the past several years, and we know you said it before, there shouldn't be a problem with this game.
Yeah, there shouldn't really be, and I mean, like, the Knicks don't just have the Pistons number. Literally, the entire NBA has the Pistons number at this point. I mean, what was it? They won 15 games last year. They got the 5th overall pick somehow. I mean, I know the draft was weak, but give me a break there. And it's looking to be more of the same this year. I mean, they're 0-4. Their losses, close lost-ish to Indiana. They lost to the Celtics by 6. They lost to Miami by 8. They got rolled by Cleveland. And they play the 76ers tomorrow at the time of this recording. Now, the 76ers are banged up, so knowing the Sixers, they'll give them their first win, but we'll see there. it shouldn't be any problem at all, like you said. I think that I just don't know what Detroit is doing. I mean, you bring in Tobias Harris. You got way too many young guys who are trying to take the spotlight, even though Cade should be their go-to guy. I don't really know what's going on there. I'm pretty sure JB Bickerstaff is the coach there now because they got rid of Monty Williams. I don't know. This Pistons team, if there was relegation in the NBA, then they would have been relegated at least 15 years ago at this point. But can't make it happen. Easy dub for the Knicks.
Well, I also find it crazy with, the big contract they got Monty Williams for, and they get rid of him after 1 year.
Because the players didn't like him. The players are obvious. It's easy to fire the coach. It's not easy to get rid of all the players. But, I mean, hey, if I'm Monty Williams, just take your sweet, sweet time with this one. You got the massive payout from Detroit. Pretty sure the Suns still have to pay out the remainder of his deal when they fired him 2 seasons ago. So just take it easy and kick back on that stack of money. Like, if I'm Monty Williams, I'm doing just fine.
Yeah, just relax, and you get it. The players didn't want you, but now it's JB Bickerstaff's opportunity. Of course, he was with the Cavaliers last year.
And they hated him.
And then that led to his firing after they lost in the playoffs to the Celtics last year, and that's where it's at, and that's where the Pistons are at, and they continue to be at the bottom of the NBA, going through this, what seems like an endless rebuild, and it seems like it's just never going to have an ending.
At some point, they got to get a better draft pick at this point. They just have to. I mean, obviously the main prize is Cooper Flag, but given their draft lottery luck, I don't see him landing Flag in this draft at all. They'll have the record. They won't have the luck. It's Detroit. What more can I say?
It's pretty much as simple as that. The only hope that city has right now is the Lions right now, which are pretty much doing great. And
the Tigers are on the up and up too.
Yeah, and the Tigers too, who made the playoffs this year, playing against the Guardians, of course. But now continuing on this road trip, we got 2 more games to cover here. So the next one will be their first Western Conference opponent of the season, which is led by Fred VanVleet and good old Dylan Brooks.
Şengün.
And Şengün too. We can't forget about him. He's been a rising star, a big time center in this league. He's going to be a rising star to watch for the Houston Rockets, who will be hosting the New York Knicks later this week, and that will be an interesting matchup to watch with Karl Anthony Towns going against Alperen Şengün. And I think that's going to be the matchup to watch in this game, the rebounding and the defensive rebound specifically for both teams. And how did the Knicks get this one done?
Well, yeah, I agree. Obviously, it's going to be fun to watch seeing Şengün and Cat go at it down low. Also, in the backcourt, really nothing to really sleep on there either. You got Jalen Green, another guy who has the potential to be a rising star, going at it with Jalen Brunson. Maybe someone like McBride being elevated, going up against the likes of Fred VanVleet, and then obviously Dylan Brooks, Dennis the Menace, or not Dennis the Menace. I got my names mixed up. It's going to be Dylan the Villain. That's better. Dylan the Villain, I'm assuming against Anunoby in this one. The Rockets are a weird team, like I said. They got a lot of good, talented young players, but some of these losses just are confusing as all hell. A 5-point loss to the Hornets on opening night, losing to Wemby and the Spurs in San Antonio to give the Spurs their first win. Now, Wemby 8 in that game. Wemby 8 with 29 points, but nobody else particularly played that well. So, yeah, this Rockets team, I think they obviously got a lot of appealing assets to maybe become better, but as of right now, I think the Knicks will probably beat them in this one. I like their chances because I like Cat more than Şengün. And funnily enough, Şengün, when he was out last year, the Rockets went on that insane run without him. So we'll see if they just choose between Şengün or Jalen Green. But I like the Knicks in this one. I'll take them in a close game.
Well, the funny thing is, the biggest storyline going into this game is going to be their matchup in Houston from last year, when the Knicks and the Rockets were going back and forth down the stretch, and it led to a foul call that I'm trying to remember if it was called or not, or it wasn't, but it was.
I don't think it was. I think I know what you're talking about.
It was where it was a big argument. Brunson got involved. DiVincenzo got involved. It was a crazy game last year, and I think the Rockets ended up winning the game from what I remember.
I think you're right about that.
And I think if you're the Knicks going into this game, you're gonna have that in your mind going into Houston, and you want to win. It's simple as that. Because the Rockets pretty much had the same core as last year from that matchup, and you want to go in there and win because the Western Conference, you only get those teams twice a year, once at home, once on the road. So you want to start off strong, and I think that's what the Knicks are looking to do in this game.
Oh, yeah, I agree. And especially looking at the East right now, and still it's very early. It's really hard to tell where all these teams are going to wind up. I mean, like, for example, Chicago and Atlanta are 2-2 and 5th and 6th in the East. I obviously don't think that's going to stand. Wizards are 1-2 and 7th, and Milwaukee's 14th because they're 1-3. They beat Philly on opening night, and then they lost to the Bulls, the Nets, and the Celtics, all by double digits. So who knows what the hell's going on there. There's no way they're that bad. But I think the top 3 seeds obviously are going to stick. I think Cleveland's good. We'll see if their injury luck holds up because they've always been injured these past few years, it feels like. And it's a big year, obviously, because you signed Donovan Mitchell to that extension. But in the NBA, you could be a free agent at any point if you just ask out. So Cleveland's good. Boston's obviously going to be in the mix. And Orlando is, again, on the rise. I believe their only loss of the year was to Memphis. I don't remember correctly. But yeah, they're coming off a win against Indiana where Paolo dropped 50. I mean, I think the Magic are, again, on the up and up. So got to keep pace with at least those big 3. And I think dropping games like this early in the season isn't going to help out.
Yeah, you called it last year with the Magic, too, with them being one of the top teams in the East. They were top 5 last year, and
gave the Cavs all they could handle too.
They did it. Gave them a big 7-game fight. That was probably one of the best first-round series we had last season, along with the Knicks and the Sixers. But going along with that, as we continue to close our way towards the end of the episode, we got one more game to look at here on the road for the Knicks. It will be against Trae Young and the Atlanta Hawks, and we will see what happens with that. And I think for this game, of course, you're looking at the point guard matchup. It's Jalen Brunson. It's Trae Young. And it's simple as that. And then you look at the centers, of course, Capella in there and Karl Anthony Towns. So that'll be nice to watch. So what are you expecting most from this? Are you expecting a lot of high pace, or are you expecting a lot of defense and a lot of rebounding out of this one?
I'm expecting a blowout that the Knicks win probably because Atlanta, we know the story with a Trae Young-led team. You'll be good offensively, but you won't be able to stop a breeze because of how bad he is defensively. And like you said, Trae and Brunson, it's the headline matchup, and Capella and Cat is also an interesting one. But I just don't think this Hawks team is very good. I just don't. I think it's only a matter of time before Trae gets dealt, and we'll see where he gets dealt to. But 4 games, I don't really like what I see. They're coming off a loss to the Wizards. Their first overall pick, Zachary Richishar, I never know how to say his name. He's one of the French guys that they brought in. He hasn't looked good to start out. Yeah, he hasn't looked good to start out the season. And I believe there were rumors going on around the time of the draft that it's like you would trade the first overall pick for Derek White. That's how bad this draft was. So far, it's looking like that's the case. Maybe even Derek White might have been underselling it, but we'll see here. I think that the Knicks are going to roll the Hawks. Like you said, it's in Atlanta, but, I mean, Atlanta's not the most intimidating place to play by any means. And I just think they're better. I just think they're way better than the Hawks. I mean, the Hawks' only wins of the year are against Brooklyn, who we know is tanking for flag, and the Hornets, who will, at best, be maybe 30, 35 wins this year.
So with all of this being said, with the 4 games that the Knicks have coming up, we're going to get now into these predictions that we think. So I think in this perspective, I think you lose to Miami, then you win the next 3. So I'd say 3-1 on this trip from my side.
I'm kind of there as well. I think the way I laid it out, yeah. I think I might have said 2-2 early on, but then said I think they'll beat the Rockets. Wouldn't be surprised if they lost to the Rockets. But yeah, 3-1 sounds about right. With that, that'll get them to 4-3 and probably back within the top 6 of the East because, again, early on, you never know what to expect, but these East standings look really weird to me, and that's just the East. We haven't even scratched the surface of what's going on out West with all of the storylines there. Sure, we will once we get more deeper into the regular season, but just feels good that the NBA is back. It's always an exciting time to see what are the new storylines, because, like, Cleveland undefeated, didn't expect that. Boston is Boston. The Lakers under J.J. Redick, it's looking promising right now. And how about the Nuggets looking like garbage to start the season? Like, it took them overtime to beat the Raptors last night. Like, what the heck is going on there? I don't get it. And, yeah, a lot of this stuff, it's fun to have back. Glad to have basketball back.
The best last night was J.J. Redick yelling at LeBron, telling him, shoot the ball,
Oh, yeah,
against the Suns last night. That was so funny, just listening back to that. It was just, and of course it led to a shot clock violation though, but nonetheless, I love J.J. Redick coaching the Lakers. I love it. I think it's the perfect fit, And with how it's going so far, I hope the Lakers have a solid season from what they've had in past years. So hoping for the best, of course, with the Lakers. But for now, let's hope the New York Knicks are my savior for New York. The Yankees aren't looking good right now. The Jets, throw them out the window. The Giants, I don't watch them. Doesn't matter.
Sit next to them. Sit next to them in the trash can, Giants fans with the Jets.
That's all they need to do. But that's the point here. And with the Knicks, it's a 4-game road trip, like we said. Miami, Detroit, Houston, Atlanta, and then home against the Milwaukee Bucks next Friday.
Who looked bad, by the way.
Which is a good sign for the Knicks leading up to that matchup. We'll find out if the Bucks are changed different then, but for now, this episode of Empire State Hoops has been powered by Sport Pros USA. For more information, visit sportprosusa.com or call 877-HOOPS-NJ to make your dream court a reality today. So, 4-game road trip. The Knicks are looking to go 4-0. I'm saying 3-1. You're saying 2-2 or 3-1. We'll see what happens with that, and then they come home against Milwaukee. But from here on Empire State Hoops, I'm Adam Rothschild. That's Matt Vargo. And we will see you next week. Have a great rest of your week, everyone.
See ya.